Roshini Rajkumar is an executive coach, crisis communication expert, host here on WCCO, Real Talk with Roshini. Roshini's on the Centerpoint Energy Home Service Plus hotline. Hi, Roshini. Good morning.
Good morning, Cory. It is so fun to be on with you to talk about one of my favorite things, presidential debates.
Well, we're done with them for a while now, so we got to make the most of this moment. We've heard from a lot of people this morning. What about you? Who do you think won?
I really agree that Kristen Welker won. She did a really good job, but again, we're comparing her with the other two who we've seen moderate either a presidential or vice presidential debate, and those just didn't go well. So maybe it's not fair because those just weren't great examples. But she really did a good job of keeping the thing under control. It's a sad state of America that we can't expect decorum in a presidential debate. So the very fact that I even have to say Kristen Welker won is too bad, because we should expect two grown men in their 70s to be able to be respectful, stay within their time, and not step on each other. But that said, she had a really great performance as a moderator. I was rooting for her just as a moderator, and she came out, I thought, being respectful to both candidates, trying to keep them both under control and watching the clock as best she could. So that I would give Kristen a 10. She's the only clear-cut 10 here. And then as far as how do we rate President Trump and Joe Biden, we really have to split it up, Cory, into three different categories. And I know you've been discussing this, I think, really great analysis this morning from you. But we've got three categories: delivery, substance, and influence. And on delivery, I agree with you, Donald Trump is hard to beat when he's on his game. Now, he was not on his game in presidential debate number one at the end of September. Last night he was on his game, but there were a couple moments where it could have gone into the gutter in a very bad way because he was letting the emotions starting to come out. So when he stays calm and he's on his game, he definitely scores high points. So on delivery, I gave him a 9. On delivery, I gave former Vice President Joe Biden an 8. So they both were fairly calm. They both weren't too interrupting of the other. When it comes to substance, President Trump was able to give a very clear vision on a few of the answers where he had some of the facts on his side. Now, where facts are a little more shaky, like what's happening with the tax returns and some of the specifics on coronavirus, where those facts were shaky, he can't just paint a brush and give us the Trump charisma as he likes to do. He really has to dig at the facts. But on substance, I gave President Trump an 8 and Joe Biden a 7, because I still wanted to hear more. When you are the challenger, you need to give us your game plan. You need to tell us your policy. And every second that Joe Biden wasted on bad-mouthing or bitching about Trump and what Trump has done was wasted opportunity for him to convince the American people that he could actually be our president and do a better job than Donald Trump. And then in the final category, go ahead.
Roshini, hold on. Okay, so let me jump in right there, because there was, generally I agree with that, because lots of times I think we spend way too much time just trying to put the other person down instead of focusing in on, okay, what are positive solutions that I can bring? I agree with you. I think last night was so much better than the first one. But there was something that Joe Biden did say that I think really was a bad moment for the president when he talked about the 525 or 545 kids that are now separated from their parents at the border. And Trump really had no answer except for, well, I didn't build the cages. And then he even responded with, well, good. I mean, it's a nice place down there. And it just was, it's a really damning type of statement from Biden.
Well, and these are the kinds of things where you can't, I mean, that's such a human issue, regardless of where you fall on immigration. When you separate kids and parents, everyone has a visceral reaction to that. And so that was one area where President Trump was not prepared well by his handlers. He wasn't smooth on his own. So that definitely you could give kind of a little win on that response or that exchange to Joe Biden. When we talk about influence, and this is what's really important, and this is what is really key for me. I watched this thing gavel to gavel, cover to cover last night, and didn't watch any of the pre-analysis. I wanted to come into it with just my own clear mind on what's happening and my own expectations. And really, both of these men have an opportunity to sway people who are undecided. That's your audience. I talk about audience analysis. Your audience is not your base. Audience are not the fans for each side. So we also have to understand that today, as everyone is Monday morning quarterbacking this thing, we are probably the people out there that are saying one person or the other one. You probably already have a strong feeling about that candidate, and that's why you thought he won. But influence is what really mattered. The undecided people were really your audience last night. And an influence, I give both of them at best a 7, more like a 6 to 7, because neither one of them had a breakout night in really convincing us of anything new, that you have a really clear vision, that you're going to bring the economy to a better place, and that you're really going to have some answers on COVID. Neither one of them did that for me last night, Cory.
And Roshini, I will echo that too, because I guess what I look for whether it's a leader of our country, a leader of our state, or a leader of an organization, I look to somebody that is stepping out there, not playing the victim, or not looking back and saying, look, well, I didn't do this, and somebody that's not defensive. I'm looking for somebody that is inspiring. And I'm going to be honest here. I don't find either of these two inspiring whatsoever.
Exactly.
And that goes to your influencer part. There is nothing. I sat there last night waiting for somebody to go, that's the moment. That's the moment. Or yeah, oh wow, I didn't know you had that in you. And we've been watching these guys for months and months and months, and I don't know how we got here, because neither of them pushed me to any sort of yes, wow, that's amazing. And to me, leadership, whether it's a country or an organization, whatever, the leader has to have some sort of inspiring DNA in them.
Yes. And the best thing that both of these men can do now in, the very little time we have before November 3rd, before actual election day, is to cut out the crap and really focus on what their vision is and convince the American people that their vision is the one that's going to win the day. We cannot continue to hear negative things about the other. Those stories are out there. Those narratives are out there. Whether they're fact-checked or not, they're out there. Each of these people is savvy enough of a business person and of a leader. They haven't shown us always that they are, but they are savvy enough as human beings to really focus right now. And the one who's going to win on November 3rd will be the most focused, the less dragged down by polls, and the less dragged down by party politics, and just focus on his own mission.
Roshini, last one for you. We just got about a minute here. Are you still undecided?
I knew you were going to ask me this, Cory. I knew you were going to ask me this. I'm probably not undecided at this moment. So there have been some things that have happened since you and I last spoke after the Veep debate, but I cannot share because it's just my policy. I'm nonpartisan. Your vote is private. I'm one of those people who chooses not to share. But guess what? There are still some days left, and I'm leaving my mind open. But again, that's also sad that what I'm thinking I'm going to do today could change when I'm in that booth on November 3rd. And that doesn't say anything that great about either of these candidates.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. I'm doing the November 3rd. I'm going to go in person. That's the way I want to do it. I don't know. I like the experience. So I'm like you, Roshini. I'm going to do that.
It's our Super Bowl. I mean, Minnesota right now, we can't unfortunately look forward to Super Bowl ourselves, but we can look forward to Election Day, get out there and vote.
Yeah, and hopefully we can look forward to another huge bowl game for the Gophers. Roll the boat, Sky Yama, go Gophers. Thanks, Roshini.
Absolutely. Thanks, Cory.